The shuttle's engines hummed softly as it descended through the violet clouds of the alien world. Ethan tightened his grip on the rail, his battle-worn armor clanking lightly with each step. He had traveled across half the galaxy to reach this palace, summoned or perhaps invited by the alien rulers themselves. The planet was unlike anything he had seen. Towers of translucent metal reflected the sunlight in colors he didn't even have names for, and floating platforms glided silently over wide streets. He had been warned about this place. Humans were rare here, and those who came often left with bruised egos, if not broken bones. But Ethan was not one to back down. He had survived war, hunger, and the bitter cold of far-off worlds. This was another test, and he intended to pass it, even if it meant facing ridicule. As the shuttle's ramp lowered, Ethan stepped onto the palace grounds. The air was thick with energy, humming with alien technology that he didn't understand. The guards, tall and sleek in armor that seemed grown rather than made, watched him silently. Their eyes glowed faintly, assessing him like a predator sizing up its prey. Then he saw her. The alien princess stood at the center of the courtyard, her presence impossible to ignore. She was tall, taller than any human he had met, with long, iridescent hair that shimmered with colors that changed when she moved. Her eyes were crystalline, catching the light in ways that made it hard to look at her directly. She wore armor too, but unlike his, it was elegant, smooth, and flawless, glinting like liquid metal. When she noticed him, she tilted her head, a small smile playing on her lips. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was the kind of smile that could cut through steel. "Is this the human?" she asked, her voice musical but sharp. The courtiers around her laughed softly, and Ethan felt the sting of their amusement. He looked down at his own armor, scratched, dented, and clearly outdated compared to the shimmering suits around him. "I am Ethan," he said evenly, keeping his voice steady. He refused to let them see him falter. The princess's smile widened and she gestured toward him. "You call that armor?" she said almost mockingly. "It looks like it was stolen from an ancient museum." The court chuckled, and some whispered words Ethan didn't understand. He could feel the weight of their eyes on him, a mixture of amusement and disbelief, but he did not respond with anger. He did not respond at all. He simply nodded and kept his hands at his sides, waiting. "Do you fight in that relic?" she continued, her tone playful but biting. "Do humans even know what real combat looks like?" Ethan took a slow breath. He could sense the expectation in the air. They wanted him to respond with words, to try to argue, to fail spectacularly, but he remained silent. Silence had its own power. One of the alien guards stepped forward, tall and imposing. "She wishes to see your skill," he said. "A demonstration, human. If you cannot impress, you will be dismissed." Ethan nodded again. "I understand." The princess laughed softly, the sound echoing in the high courtyard. "Very well. Let us see what a human can do." She turned, sweeping her hand toward the arena beyond the courtyard. A large platform rose from the ground, glowing faintly as it locked into place. It was an arena designed for warriors, for battles of skill and power. Ethan stepped forward. The ground beneath him hummed faintly, reacting to his weight. He took a moment to observe. The alien warrior's movements were precise, almost too perfect. Every gesture, every strike was designed for efficiency and elegance. He had no illusions about fitting in, but he had something they did not: human adaptability, unpredictability, and instinct. The princess stepped onto the arena platform, her armor glinting under the light. She held a weapon unlike anything Ethan had seen, long, flexible, and humming with energy. It could extend, retract, and shift shape at a thought. Her courtiers gasped and murmured, impressed by her mastery. "You will find this challenging," she said, her eyes locking on his. "But perhaps your human instincts can amuse me." Ethan did not smile. He only nodded. Then he removed his helmet, letting his hair fall freely. His face, weathered but calm, met her gaze without fear. The princess raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued by his lack of reaction. "Interesting," she said softly. "You do not beg for mercy. Most humans would crumble under a glance like mine." Ethan stepped onto the platform. The surface adjusted slightly beneath him, recognizing his weight. He felt the hum of the energy flowing through it. This was alien technology, far beyond anything he had trained with. But he had faced danger before, and he could learn quickly. The princess moved first. Her weapon extended, a blur of light slicing through the air toward him. Ethan ducked instinctively, feeling the energy sweep past. It was fast, precise, and deadly. But he noticed something. Her strikes, while perfect, followed patterns. They were too perfect. Predictable if one knew what to look for. He kept his movements calm, watching, studying, waiting for an opening. The court gasped and whispered at his speed, clearly surprised by his reflexes. The princess's expression shifted slightly, amusement tinged with frustration. "You are stubborn," she said, swinging her weapon again. "Do you have no fear?" "Fear is for those who need it," Ethan replied calmly. He did not rush to attack. Instead, he moved with patience, letting her energy strikes come to him. Each time he evaded with precision, testing her range, speed, and rhythm. The princess began to tilt her head, observing him more closely. He was not like other humans. Other humans would panic under her mockery, under the overwhelming alien skill. But he did not. He was focused, controlled, and confident in a way that unsettled her. Then came a moment. The princess feinted left, then right, her weapon shifting in ways that no human should have been able to follow. But Ethan anticipated the final motion, stepping aside and letting her energy weapon swipe harmlessly past him. He didn't attack. He only waited, silent and calm, letting her see that he was not rushing, not reacting out of fear. The court murmured. Some of the alien warriors frowned. The princess herself blinked, a flash of surprise crossing her crystalline eyes. "You are unlike any human I have met," she said. Her tone was no longer mocking, though it still carried a challenge. "Perhaps there is more to you than your armor suggests." Ethan nodded. He had learned enough in minutes to know that this battle was not about winning with force. It was about presence, control, and showing that humans were not to be underestimated. "Do you wish to continue?" he asked quietly. The princess smiled faintly, a mixture of curiosity and irritation. "Yes, show me your full skill." Ethan took a deep breath and did something unexpected. He reached for his armor. With deliberate calm, he began to remove the heavy metal plates. Each clang echoed through the arena, drawing the attention of every courtier. His chest, arms, and legs were now exposed, revealing a body honed by years of combat, survival, and discipline. The court gasped. Alien warriors whispered to each other. The princess froze mid-step, her weapon lowering slightly. This human, whom she had mocked only moments ago, was standing there, stripped of armor, yet more imposing than ever. Ethan's movements were no longer hindered by the heavy suit. Every muscle worked in perfect harmony, every step precise. He didn't need a weapon yet. His presence alone spoke of skill, strength, and instinct. The princess's eyes widened, her amusement replaced by surprise, then curiosity. She had underestimated him, and in this moment she realized that humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and perhaps worthy opponents. Ethan did not move to attack immediately. He simply stood, waiting, letting the silence stretch. The court held its breath. The arena felt charged, alive with anticipation. For the first time, the princess's smile faded. She had expected a human to be clumsy, weak, or easily intimidated. She had expected mockery to be enough. And yet here he was, calm, strong, and unyielding. Ethan nodded once, a silent acknowledgement of the challenge she had presented. He was ready for whatever came next, not with arrogance but with quiet confidence. The princess stepped back, adjusting her weapon. Her crystalline eyes studied him, measuring, analyzing. She had underestimated humans, and now she knew that she could not judge by appearances alone. The court remained silent, captivated by the human who dared to defy expectation. For Ethan, the mockery of his armor was gone. The game had changed. And as he prepared for the next move, he knew that the real test was only beginning. The arena was silent now, the usual hum of alien machinery seeming to pause in respect or perhaps in disbelief. Ethan stood in the center, his armor removed, his lean, disciplined form clearly visible. His eyes met the princess's, calm but focused. She had mocked him before, but now she hesitated. The subtle shift in her expression told him that she was reassessing him. The courtiers whispered among themselves. Alien warriors leaned forward, their weapons momentarily lowered. No one had expected a human to display such poise and control. Even the guards, usually stone-faced, seemed uneasy under the quiet power radiating from him. The princess tightened her grip on her weapon, a flicker of her usual confidence returning. She moved first this time, stepping forward with incredible speed, her weapon extending and contracting in a blur. Each strike was precise, designed to test his speed, reflexes, and strength. Ethan did not flinch. Instead, he stepped aside, sidestepped, and ducked, his movements fluid, instinctual. He observed her patterns carefully. Unlike the alien warriors who relied on repetition and perfection, humans were unpredictable. That was his advantage. Each dodge and shift was calculated to let him see her next move. "You are fast, but predictable," she said, her crystalline eyes narrowing. She struck again, faster this time, forcing Ethan to leap backward. Sparks flew where her weapon barely missed him. The audience gasped. They had never seen a human move like this. Ethan took a steady breath. "You rely on patterns," he said calmly. "I rely on instinct." The princess paused for a fraction of a second. That hesitation was enough. Ethan closed the distance between them with a sudden, unexpected sprint. He ducked under her swing and tapped the ground with his palm, propelling himself upward with a human technique she did not expect. For a moment, everything seemed to slow. Ethan's body moved with grace and precision, striking in ways that were instinctual but powerful. The princess blocked some of his movements, but others slipped past her, and the audience watched in awe. Each strike, each movement showcased human ingenuity, the ability to adapt, to think differently, to survive against impossible odds. The princess's smirk was gone now. Her laughter had faded. She realized that she had underestimated him, assuming that humans could never match her skill or strategy. But Ethan was not just strong. He was clever, adaptable, and fearless. You fight differently," she admitted, her voice quieter than before. Her weapon moved faster now, almost like a dance, but Ethan anticipated her rhythm, predicting her strikes just enough to evade without overcommitting. He was learning, adjusting, and using every human advantage she could not fully understand. The crowd leaned in. Alien warriors exchanged looks of surprise. Even the guards shifted slightly, sensing that this battle was unlike anything they had seen before. Humans were underestimated constantly, and this one was proving them wrong in spectacular fashion. Ethan did not attack with anger. He attacked with purpose. Every movement was measured. Every dodge was a statement. Humans were not weak, humans were not predictable, and humans were not to be dismissed. The princess's strikes grew more forceful, more complex. Her weapon twisted and turned, bending in ways that defied logic. But Ethan was not afraid. He adapted, using the environment, the energy of the arena, and the subtle shifts in her stance to his advantage. Then came the moment of truth. The princess launched a powerful energy strike aimed directly at him. Most humans would have panicked, but Ethan had anticipated it. He rolled to the side, letting the strike hit the arena with a thunderous crash. He sprang to his feet immediately, moving closer to her with calm confidence. For a heartbeat, neither moved. The crowd held its collective breath. Ethan's eyes met hers. There was no fear, no arrogance, only focus. "You surprise me," the princess said softly. Her voice lacked mockery now. "Most humans would have fallen already." "I am not most humans," Ethan replied. He did not boast. He simply stated the truth. The princess's weapon shifted again, ready for another strike. Ethan waited, reading her stance, reading her intent. He had learned her patterns, but more importantly, he had learned her hesitation. Even the most skilled warriors had tiny openings, and he was trained to see them. With a sudden burst, Ethan moved. He did not strike with full force, he did not need to. He flowed around her attacks, moving like water. Agile, unpredictable. The princess blocked instinctively, but she could not anticipate every angle, every move. Each time she tried to counter, Ethan shifted, avoided, and responded in a way no alien could have predicted. The arena echoed with the energy of their movements. Sparks flew, and the light from the princess's weapon shimmered across Ethan's skin, highlighting the lean strength of his body. The court was silent, captivated by the human who refused to be defeated, who refused to be mocked. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Ethan stepped back. He did not attack further. He stood tall, his chest rising and falling steadily, and turned toward the edge of the platform. His movements were calm, deliberate, as if he were leaving the arena. Not defeated, not triumphant, but unshakable. The princess froze, weapon half raised. Her eyes widened as she watched him turn away. No human had ever dared such confidence. Most would have either pleaded, begged for mercy, or rushed forward. But Ethan walked with quiet authority, demonstrating that true power did not require showmanship. The courtiers whispered, some stunned into silence, some exchanging impressed looks. The alien warriors lowered their weapons, silently acknowledging the skill they had just witnessed. Even the guards, stoic as they were, nodded slightly, recognizing the human's strength and strategy. The princess took a step forward, then another. She stopped just before reaching him, her expression unreadable. She had expected laughter, arrogance, or desperation. Instead, she found calm, competence, and restraint, a combination she did not expect from a human. "You are different," she said softly. Her voice carried more respect than mockery now. "I expected weakness. I expected failure." Instead, her words trailed off, her gaze fixed on him. Ethan did not respond. He simply looked over his shoulder, meeting her eyes once more. Then he stepped off the platform, leaving the arena behind. He did not run. He did not boast. He left with the quiet strength of someone who knew his worth, without needing anyone else to validate it. The princess watched him go, a new emotion forming in her crystalline eyes. Respect. She had mocked him, laughed at his armor, and expected little. But this human had shown her that appearances were deceiving, that humans were clever, adaptable, and fearless. The court remained silent, the echoes of the duel lingering in the air. The princess's voice broke the stillness. "This human, he is unlike any I have known," she said softly, almost to herself. "Perhaps we have been wrong to underestimate humans all along." Ethan walked through the grand halls of the palace, his head held high, his movements calm and assured. He had not needed to prove anything through words, through flashy attacks, or through arrogance. His skill, his patience, and his confidence had spoken for themselves. As he reached the main gate, the princess stepped forward once more, this time without mockery. Her weapon was lowered, her posture relaxed. "You have earned my respect, human," she said. "Few would have faced what you did and walked away with dignity and tact." Ethan nodded. "Respect is earned, not given," he replied simply. The princess studied him, her eyes reflecting the strange light of her world. "Perhaps there is more to humanity than I imagined," she said. "And perhaps you will show us more in time." Without another word, Ethan continued walking, leaving the arena, the palace, and the whispers of the court behind. He had turned mockery into respect, humiliation into strength, and doubt into acknowledgement. In that moment, the alien princess realized something profound. Humans were not to be measured by their armor, their appearance, or their size. They were to be measured by their courage, their intelligence, and their heart. And Ethan had proven that humans could stand among the stars not just as survivors but as equals, capable of awe-inspiring skill and unshakable confidence. The palace gates closed behind him, but the echo of his presence remained. The court would remember this day for generations. A human had walked among them, stripped of armor yet unbreakable, mocked yet triumphant. And the princess, who had laughed first, now stood silently, knowing that she had witnessed something extraordinary, something that would change her perception of humanity forever. Ethan did not look back. He did not need to. The knowledge of his own strength, the quiet assurance of his worth, and the respect he had earned were enough. For humans were capable of more than anyone here had imagined, and this was only the beginning.